Hey guys, welcome back to Bits of an Artist's Life. This is Sandy and I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. I'm hoping to have this out by Thanksgiving weekend. I want to let you guys know that I am so thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for this channel and this platform to be able to bring inspiration and creativity and just some joy and ridiculousness. I really can't imagine life now without doing these videos for you guys and letting you come be a fly on my wall in the studio. I know I said that last video, but it feels more appropriate now that it's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to tell you guys happy Thanksgiving. I could not jibber jabber in this intro because I wanted to give you guys a long video. I'm still editing it, so I don't know how long it's gonna be, but I wanted so badly to give you guys a video for this holiday weekend because I know a lot of you guys, like us, are at home and aren't visiting family. I wanted to work hard this week to give this to you guys. Been thinking about those of you that are always telling me how much joy it brings you guys when a new video pops up. So I thought I'm gonna give you a long one for those of you guys that don't like long ones, like Grady. Sorry, but this is gonna be a long one. I'm just going to jump right into it and let the kind of second intro tell you what this video is gonna be about. I sure am thankful for you guys. Thank you for putting up with all my hoopla through the year, and we will do more hoopla next year. Hey guys, I wanted to share with you guys the last challenge that I did for the art challenge that I've been doing with some young ladies that I've mentioned multiple times here. In fact, I've had like several things that have turned out really good for this that I haven't shown you guys. Like I picked up the camera for part of it and then didn't finish all of it. Like I can't remember if I shared with you guys the space cat art. I know I did on Instagram. I made a t-shirt from that artwork that I did for that challenge. We were supposed to do some animal in space and I loved what I did. In fact, I'll show that to you here. I've still got it in the hoop because I'm gonna let it finish drying and then I'll take it out of that and hopefully it won't be too damaged and stretched. I think after I wash it, whatever pulling has been going on with this hoop will be fine. I also have like a board, just a foam board thing under here. I did that just, I don't know why I did that. I think to give me a little more stability. That worked out really well. This works great because I don't really have their space between this and the board. And so I didn't get paint going through. This was a great way to do it. Note to future self, do it this way. Right here, I made the line way too thick. So I just mixed a black with my three colors, red, blue, and yellow. And it's not as dark as the shirt, but look, in the big scheme of it, you can't tell that. Nobody's ever gonna notice that. I'm loving this, guys. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I also feel like when you are looking at this from a distance, it kind of looks like stitching because it has this, because of like the fibers, it kind of has this pulling effect. You can't get a real smooth line, but I just feel like that makes it kind of look like a pencil, and I can't wait to try it on and see the finished product. My guess is it will not be centered. It will be a little wonky, but that's okay. I'm into a little wonky. That's not a newsflash to y'all, I know. Yay, win-win, another cute shirt in the books. Okay, so that was the t-shirt that I did. It was a ton of fun. I've got a couple other videos if you guys want to see where I made like horse t-shirt. Greg's gonna wish he had this shirt back, but it's gonna be cropped, so I don't think he'll be wearing it. I'm done with the shirt and oh yeah, the deodorant shirt. Not a lot of people have watched that video, probably because the way I titled it, but it is a really funny video. So if you guys have not seen that, I'll put a link somewhere up here to it. It is a really funny video. It kind of lets you guys in on our relationship and personality and that kind of thing. Okay, back to the last art challenge. So the challenge was to paint your grandparents' house from memory. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, guys. Wish me luck, wish me luck. Can I do it? We will see. I sent the video that I did for the stories Instagram post to my sister. She was like, that made me cry. Hey guys, I wanted to show you something fun I've been working on this week for the art challenge that I'm doing with some young ladies. So this week's art challenge was to paint one of your grandparents' house from memory. It was really fun to think about their house and the things about it that I remember. So let me show it to you guys. Okay, so here's the painting. It's just a little nun by like 12. My granny, I was told, used to feed squirrels from her hand. She would be at this window and they would come. I started to put a squirrel in there, but it was looking weird. She always had like sun tea going on out there. And my pappy had a stroke from, like, that's really all I remember him, as being in a wheelchair. And she had like this ramp. And there were these like cornfields behind their house. And she had this koi pond. And then over here, there were a bunch of woods. And I would play in those woods for hours and hours and hours and hours as a child. From my memory, I think that they had a yellow house. I can't really remember. I mean, but I think that it probably was. There's the finished piece. It was really fun to do and to think about. She said Granny's house was pink. She said Pepto-Bismol pink. I was like, was it ever yellow? And she was like, I don't remember it ever being yellow, just pink. I need to ask my dad. Maybe he'll remember. Surely he'll remember. I think it's very interesting that as a child, I would not remember a pink house. Don't you think that would stand out? Why did that not stand out? I painted her house yellow. Surely the majority of the time it was yellow, but I don't know. I don't know. Here's what I want to do in this video. I feel like I've got to paint this house pink. So I want to do another painting and do it in pink. Here's the other thing. Now I'm like attached to it. Not only to this painting, but yeah, I don't know. There's gonna be a much more emotional attachment. Do you know what that equals? That equals tight painting. So I'm gonna have to really work hard to not do that. I hope that I can keep the looseness. It's hard to paint these figures loose also because they're precious to me, but I really just want to keep that whole thing. So it is going to be an exercise for me to do that. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that this week, and I'm gonna bring you guys along, which is gonna add to the tightness because it's always harder to paint when you guys are watching. But that's okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. I want you guys to see this. So I don't know, would you guys may want to do this challenge for yourself. Maybe you would want to do this. Paint it from memory. I'm going to use my golden matte acrylics water brush. I'm going to use a big brush like this. Probably these two brushes. They're just like those Chinese brushes. I'm going to try to just attack this paper. I'm just using paper. This is what I'm going to be using. I like smooth paper. Okay, I'm first going to start with my red. I think that's what I want to sketch in. I have it really watered down, so we'll see how that works. I'm gonna try to go super fast. Ooh, see how loaded up that brush can get? Wow. Notice how far up I'm holding this brush also. The young ladies in my group are much younger than me, so I think all of them had living grandparents. Mine have been dead for a long time, so I really had to reach back in my memory. In fact, one of the young ladies said, I haven't been to my grandparents' house in like 6 months, so it's gonna be hard to remember. I'm like, it's been like, gosh, maybe 30 years? No, not that long. I think it was in junior high. Yeah, so I was like, I've really got to reach back into my memory. I remember certain things about my grandparents' house that I've thought about trying to capture before, but again, I'm not very good at like just painting from memory. I'm getting better at it, or from like imagination. It's something that I am working at. I'm just not really great at it yet. I've wanted to paint my granny's kitchen before, and memories I have, because that's where I learned to paint, was in her kitchen, sitting at her table, and got a love for it. She was a pottery artist, and she also painted like on everything in her house, kind of like Maud Lewis. Wait, was it Maud Lewis that did that? Yeah. Maud Lewis. If you don't know Maud Lewis, you should go check her out. There's some great documentaries on her. So what I first did for this challenge, I felt like I needed a tool to first just be able to get some things down and move things around and change colors. So I did my first like sketch in Procreate. I was really short on time that week, and I thought this may end up being my piece of art, because I want to paint it after this, but this may be it. There were things about this little very quick sketch, like I was just really blopping things in and playing with composition. I really loved how my granny and my pappy turned out in the Procreate drawing more than the finished drawing that I did. I like the finished drawing a lot too, but I liked something about them. I loved the way my granny's glasses turned out, and my pappy, who was in a wheelchair, he had a stroke from when I It's all I ever remembered him, was being in a wheelchair. Okay, so let me tell you about the painting. So I have my granny there in the window, and in the Procreate, I put a little squirrel there. I tried doing that in the painting. I was really doing the painting fast, like I just had 0 time, which was wonderful because it kept me loose. But when I tried to do a squirrel really fast in the style that I was doing, it looked more like just a blob of, it looked weird, so I took it out. I didn't see this as a child at my granny's. What I've been told, squirrels would come up to that window and feed straight out of her hand. I love that about my granny because I love wildlife too. I don't think I knew that about her as a child. I definitely get that from her too, and would love some animals to eat out of my hand besides the animals we have in this house. So my grandparents lived out in the country. I think it was just in the last few years that I found out like actually where it is here in Tennessee. I just always knew it as the country. And she had this little house. I would spend several weeks in the summers there and other times also. Right, that's all I'm gonna do for my sketch. Yeah, so what I like about using a really bright color with a sketch is that at times it will show through, and I really like that. I'm happy with this. I didn't want to get too detailed. If you start off detailed early, you will continue to be detailed. You have got to start off loose or you will not continue loose. I really tried to go fast with this and blop it in, and you guys saw how fast I did it. It was pretty quick. I mean, maybe 5 minutes. Was it even 5 minutes? I don't know. I had such freedom there. My cousin and I would spend hours and hours and hours in the woods. So those woods that I have on the left side there, those trees, that represents the woods, and we would spend hours and hours and hours and play in the creeks and explore. I mean, I absolutely loved it. Probably the time of my life where I got a real love for nature. But I put my granny there in the window. She had really big glasses. She did not like having her picture taken, but I loved them. I only have maybe one picture of her. I should get that picture out because Pappy's in it too. And that could kind of be maybe some good reference. But this was all about like from the memory, so that's what this is. So I painted her there with her big glasses, kind of looking out. She also always had some sun tea going on out on the deck. I don't know if you know what sun tea is, but basically it's like you put the tea bags in the water with like, I think she used to do lemon and oranges from what I remember, and it would be out there all day. And I just have memories of where it would sit on the railing and like the sun coming in. It was just really pretty. And then my Pappy, as I said, was in a wheelchair from a stroke, and she would always either have him, she would take him out on the deck for part of the day, sometimes probably when it was like sunny and warm, but for the most part he was always right there at the glass door, the front door where they had a glass thing. They probably put that in for him, which I love that. He would sit there in the wheelchair and look out and be there all day, so that's why I put him there in the door frame. And I always remember like his little scraggly gray beard. And my sister was also like, I helped build that koi pond. Hopefully if it turns out good, then I can give that painting to my sister. I mean, she could have this yellow house one too. I don't, you know, if she wants either one of them. So Jackie, if you're listening, you are more than welcome to have one of these if you want them. Behind their house, I remember kind of like cornfields. I even drew in kind of the roads that I remember. There was this one really long road I would walk. And then she also had, so on the, you've got the porch there, but then there's a ramp. They had a ramp on the side. They probably put that in because of Pappy being in the wheelchair. And then she also had a really small koi pond. And then you can see some flowers popping up there in the front. There was this small round, from what I remember, flower garden. And I remember being out there on my hands and knees with her, picking weeds and feeling that that was going to take forever. And when do I get to go play back in the woods? No, actually, I really enjoyed like that time out there with her. And the driveway, even just the driveway, putting that in, I just have memories of walking up and down that gravel driveway and feeling the excitement of adventure, of what you know, the exploring. I was on my way to go explore, and just the freedom of it. I learned more things about this house and my grandparents through painting this and sharing it. Okay, I've got to tell you another funny story. This is hysterical because I partly want to tell you guys because I think you'll enjoy it, but also I want to document it because I want to remember it because this brain doesn't remember stuff. I was talking to a friend of mine's daughter who's really into art. She's like in elementary school, and I was telling her about this painting. I was telling her about the part about my sister saying actually the house was pink, and she was like, pink, you know, it was kind of cracked her up at first that it's like somebody would have a pink house, and then her face changed and she goes, I know where your granny lives. She goes, we've passed that house on the road. We've driven right past it. She goes, yeah, I know where she lives. I got so cracked. I was like, oh, really? She was like, yeah. She goes, I know right where it is. So obviously she's passed another pink house at some point, and it was memorable to her. So I just thought that was so stinking cute. So let's see what we can do with this painting. Maybe I wonder if I should talk to my dad first and see if there's any other like things or memories I should add to this. But I do want it to be like my memories. That's what this is about. One of the things I've been enjoying as I have been painting these paintings and remembering memories, things that I'd kind of forgotten about or just not thought about in a long time. I was thinking about a couple things that I did as a child that, actually, did I ever get caught? No, I never got caught. I was not a real naughty kid. You just need to know that, even though it's gonna sound like it with these things. So I was thinking about one of my favorite memories from my grandparents' house. My pappy always had this tin can on his like wheelchair little tabletop. You know those like old-timey, well, I say they're old-timey, I think they're old-timey, they've been around, you can get them at Cracker Barrel. A tin of like peppermint sticks, you know what I mean, like the ones that are about this long, red and white stripes on them. So my pappy always had those on his like table, and I was told I was not to get into those. Those were pappy's. Well, sometimes when my granny was busy and pappy was snoozed away, taking a little siesta in his wheelchair, I would sneak and get a peppermint. So as a child, I always thought it was very interesting that the peppermint sticks, because I'd never seen peppermint sticks except for these, so I didn't know any different. I always thought it was very interesting that the peppermint sticks only had stripe like halfway. There were only stripes on half of the peppermint stick, and the other part was always white, which I thought was very interesting, but that didn't deter me from stealing peppermints from my pappy. It sounds terrible now that I say it. Anyways, I later found out, actually I think I saw my pappy doing this, and that's how I found out. Yeah, I know it was. Nobody would have told me this. I saw my pappy doing this. Sucking on one of those peppermints one day and taking it out of his mouth. And this part had the stripes that he was holding, and then the part that he had in his mouth was all white, and he put it back in the can. So I realized then, oh no, that's the part my pappy's been sucking on. Yeah, so, you know, that's what you get though, as a disobedient child. But it makes me laugh so hard. I do remember being a little, like, stunned and mortified by that as a child. I definitely did not steal any more peppermint sticks. That like did me in. But anytime like I'm at Cracker Barrel or someplace like that and there's a tin of them, I mean, it just makes me laugh so hard. The other thing at Christmas that I don't think I ever got caught, but I found out later again, kind of one of those, hey, this is why you're not supposed to do that. I was told when my granny got this, she always had this really elaborate gingerbread house, and it was always the same one every year. Now, I didn't catch on to that as a child, but I was told not to eat any of the candy. Wow. I snuck candy. I think my cousin did too, Dana. But I found out as an adult that she was using, or not as an adult, I was a teenager, that it was the same candy house every year. And she would wrap it up and then put it up in the attic. And I think one year, maybe for a little period of time, they had some mouse issues up there. And yeah. So I was eating corroded attic, 500 million year old candy. Hey, it probably tasted good to me, and you know, I'm still alive. Anyway, it's just fun memories from my grandparents' house. Lots and lots of hours spent there. I've made one big fatal mistake. I really should have put in my granny and pappy earlier in the stage, because at this point, well, I'm not in love with it yet. There are parts of it I'm in love with, but sometimes you just need to get that part over with. So I'm going to let this dry and then start layering them in. If you've got people, and especially people that you feel close to, that you know you're going to be like, go on and get those in early. But then, well, I take that back. What can happen then is you get those really, you get them in really good, and then you're like, about the rest of the painting. So I take that advice back. Don't worry about getting them in early. Yeah, don't get them in early. I'm glad now I didn't do that. I can't remember what I did for the first one, but yeah, let's not worry about that. Let's just ignore everything I just said. So I was talking to my dad yesterday. I said, I've been trying to find this picture I know that I have of my granny and pappy, and they're outside on the deck, so I know that I could probably see part of the house. He was like, oh yeah, I've got that picture, let me go get it. So they sent me a copy of it. The house is blue. I was like, what? So I'm gonna do another version of that. In fact, I've already got the paper up on my easel. I'm gonna do another version. I reached out to my aunt because she lived close to my grandmother. I texted her and I was like, we're all over the place with what color house Granny and Pappy's was. And she said it was pink and then it was blue. So now I know. So this yellow one, who knows? Maybe at some point it was yellow and she didn't mention that. So I'm gonna paint a blue one and see how that goes. And now I'll have all these versions that any of the family members that want them can have one of them. Yeah, I've been working on it for a while and I need to like take a break and set it aside and come back to it. There's definitely things that I'm like, I mean, I made my granny very big in that window compared to my pappy. I don't know. I will want to stay loose, so there's part of me that wants to do it like when I'm doing these kind of paintings where I blop it in and then I just leave it alone. I kept trying to tone down this pink. I'm looking at it because I'm trying to assess it. I keep looking at this pink feeling like it's really pink and I keep neutralizing it. But it was Pepto-Bismol pink, what my sister said, so even as much as I've neutralized it, like knocked down the pink where it's not so, it's still pretty pink. I got the squirrel in, painted that a little way too detailed, but I kind of like him. I'm glad he's in there. Even though I don't think he's real cute, I'm glad he's in there because it's part of the story. I definitely see things that I'm gonna probably work on. I wanna sleep on it. I need to come back to this with fresh eyes, even though here's the problem with that. Then tomorrow if I come in, I'm like, oh, I really like it, but there's these little things that I know need to be fixed. Like I keep looking at that water. The water keeps standing out to me. It's probably because there's not blue that bright in other places. I may even try to pop some of that in. That may help. But if I come back in the morning and I really like it, then I'm gonna feel tight and precious. What I may need to do is if I feel like there's some pretty major things that need to be worked on, I may just need to start over and do another one. I don't know, we'll see. There's definitely things about it I like. When you're doing loose work like this and you're making marks, it doesn't really feel like I just put his feet in there and I've got some insinuation of his hands and I'm putting this wheelchair in, but your brain fills in. That's what's kind of hard for people to get when you're doing loose stuff. You got to remember that your brain fills in a lot of information. Didn't do that as loose as I wanted to either. We've got this like a really thin, you know, tight watercolor brush. I'm thinking about making her glasses. Should I? See, this is where I start getting precious. Like I'm thinking, should I make her glasses a little darker to go with this? Okay, I don't want to get precious. I just want to try it. If I mess it up, oh well. So, you know, you lose things and then you put things back in, and that's how you get variety. So don't be fearful of like losing lines. Something about that tea that I kind of like because it's see-through, but I'm not really liking the color. It's kind of an orangey color. I will definitely lose it now that I'm gonna do this. Though I like the luminosity of it, it's not exactly what I'm going for. I think if I just blop some of this blue in little peeps like around, like even just a couple little places to move that blue. This is the blue I'm talking about. That feels a little scream in the face, but it could be fine. Tomorrow I may look at it and really like it. We'll see. I'll get back with you. Here's my mess for the day. This looks like chocolate milk, but it is not. Listen guys, here's a tip. You have got to change your water out a lot. This is too dirty. Whether you're doing watercolor, using acrylic, flash, anything like that. Now, where I don't follow my own rules sometimes is when I'm oil painting. I don't know why. It's just like I just don't do it. Change your water out. That has made a big difference in my painting for me, to not have murky water. Though I want neutralized colors, I want to control that, and I don't want contaminated murky water. And I will usually take my big brushes over too and just give them a little swishy in the sink just to freshen them up. Okay guys, here's the finished painting. Do you see also how little bits of the pink show through really all around if you look closely? One of the things that does is it helps bring the painting together. I'm also happy I got the squirrel in. He looks a little weird, but I'm happy that he turned out loose because I was in there with this little bitty brush all up in there, all up in his business. I think what I want to do is do another one without the camera going so I can just focus on painting and not break up the speed. There's just something about when you like get going, and to break that is kind of difficult. So I think I'm going to do another one, and then I'll show you that one when I'm done. Right, I wanted to show you guys the third painting I did of my grandparents' house. I wanted to do another pink one. The other one felt way too pink. I came in here the next day and was like, wowzer. I put some glasses on my pappy because I came across a picture recently and he did have some glasses on. I really like how my granny turned out in this one. I put some blush on her too. I think this one may be my favorite one from all of them. I definitely have family members that are wanting some, so I'm glad I keep painting them. One of the things I did this morning, I decided I wanted to put some gesso on the back. So I wanted it to be a little flatter and sturdier. So I put some tape, like my least stickiest tape that I have, around the edges on the front of the painting. And then I turn it over and I gesso the back just to keep from getting any gesso on the front. And I pulled the tape off of my favorite one, and look what happened. Look all the way up. It just pulled off. I was like, what is happening? Why is it doing this? Then it dawned on me, I don't know why I did this. I had a piece of paper that I was doing some color swatches of some oil pastels. And I messed it up, so I started over, and I thought, well, I'm gonna use that piece of paper. So I thought, well, I think I could probably just scrape that oil pastel off and wipe it real good and then paint over it. So I don't know if I'm gonna just try cutting that off or try repainting. I may just see what it looks like if I cut it off. But why would I do that on something like my granny's painting? That just didn't even make any sense. You live and you learn, you live and you learn. So I'm going to go, I've got some paper set up over there. I'm gonna go paint a blue house. And now I've got like a little bit of the house in this picture. I wish I had a full frontal house picture, but I don't. I was like, oh, there's a window there and I forgot about this window. I don't know if that's gonna be helpful or not. I don't wanna get tied up in like details that don't mean anything. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that now. This is all I have done so far of the blue house. This is just the tape that's not sticking, which will be good because this has been on here for a while. Hopefully it'll come off the painting okay when I'm done with it. I lost some momentum and didn't finish this one. Granny's looking a little too lifelike. So I'll have to get back with you on this one. I appreciate you guys. If y'all have made it to this far, like just let me talk and share these memories, and taking you along with me on this little journey. I just found a plug I've been looking for. Yeah, I partly did it because I think there will be some of my family members that watch this video too, even though they probably won't make it to the end because it's a long one and they're gonna be in comatose like Grady when he watches this video to see if there's any editing that needs to be done. Sorry, Grady. This is for the people who are home alone in the holidays. So I hope it's appropriate timing on Thanksgiving weekend to think about my granny and the loved ones and the memories we have from there. You know, the rest of my family that may be watching this video. I hope it is special and precious and good memories for them too this holiday season when a lot of us aren't spending time with family. Look what's outside my window.